Today we'll find out if you should go for a Honda S2000 or a Porsche 911. The early Honda S2000, produced from 1999 through 2003, is powered by a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine. It pumps out 237 horsepower at 8,300 RPMs. The facelift S2000 debuted in 2004. It got a 2.2-liter inline 4 that pumped out the same 237 horsepower, but at a lower 7,800 RPMs. The Porsche 996.1 Carrera was produced from 1999 through 2001 in the United States. These early cars are powered by a 3.4-liter flat 6 engine that pumps out 294 horsepower at 6,800 RPMs. The Porsche 996.2 Carrera was produced from 2002 through 2004. It got a 3.6-liter flat 6 engine with an output of 320 horsepower at 6,800 RPMs. We won't even talk about the 996 Turbo or the GT cars in this video for comparison, as those will make any Honda S2000 owner cry like a baby. The Honda S2000 is a track-focused roadster with a very, very high revving engine. And when I mean high revving, I mean all the way to heaven. In the more powerful later models, you can go from 0 to 60 in just 5.4 seconds and continue on to a top speed of 149 miles per hour. The second generation 996 Carrera with its more powerful engine can go from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat, wind option with a manual transmission. And of course, we all know how conservative Porsche usually is with their 0 to 60 time. Put the accelerator to the floor and the 996 will continue on to a top speed of 177 miles per hour. Of course, both of these cars are made for more than straight line performance. While both handle well, thanks to the Honda's engine placement behind the front axle, it offers 50-50 weight distribution. This means you can carry more speed into the corner and through the corner. With the 996 generation of the 911, it takes a bit more planning. You have to set your car up coming into the corner, braking correctly, and then use the traction and power coming out of the corner. This makes the S2000 the less intimidating car and allows for less experienced drivers to drive very quickly on the track. The Honda S2000 is just a cool car. It has a long bonnet and a roadster body style. Plus, the motorcycle-like characteristics of its high revving engine make it quite endearing to drivers. The problem with the S2000 is, well, it's a Honda. Honda just doesn't conjure up images of performance cars. Instead, with Honda, you think about dependable, good gas mileage cars that usually aren't overly exciting. The Porsche 996 may be the least loved 911 in the current market, but it's still a Porsche 911. The name Porsche brings to mind wins at Le Mans and very fast road cars. While the Honda S2000 is a cool car, how many people dreamed of owning a Honda one day? If properly maintained, the 996 generation of the Porsche 911 can be quite a dependable car. Of course, there are known issues with the 996, and pretty much every video on the 996 talks about some of them, so I'm not going to bother mentioning them now, but I have other videos that talk about them. Fortunately, there's preventative maintenance that can keep these 996s on the road. Of course, with a Porsche, maintenance and parts are just going to cost more. While sometimes the parts aren't that much more than what you'll pay for a Honda part, if you do have to take it to a shop, expect to pay a bit more than you would for a Honda service. The Honda S2000 is, well, a Honda. Parts and labor at a shop will be less than a Porsche. And I've seen a number of Honda S2000s with just shy of 300,000 miles on them. And many Honda S2000s decide to heavily modify their cars, and not always tastefully. Yet they still manage to continue to run. When it was first introduced, the Honda S2000 had a starting price of $32,000. The 996 generation of the Porsche 911 had a starting price of $65,030 when it was first introduced. As you expected, the 911 certainly was the more expensive car, but tables have turned recently. Sure, you can still find a decent running Honda S2000 for $10,000. Just expect for the mileage to be about 250,000 miles. For a lower mileage example with, say, 50,000 miles on it, expect to pay about $35,000. And as the mileage goes down from there, prices raise to around $50,000 and sometimes more, especially if you buy it on Bring a Trailer. For a higher mileage Porsche 996 with about 150,000 miles on it, expect to be paying around 13,000 miles, especially if it's a cabriolet with the Tiptronic. In the current market, you can find a 996 with about 50,000 miles on it for about $25,000, and sometimes a bit less depending on the transmission and body style. Bet you didn't see the 911 being the cheaper car. In their own ways, both the Honda S2000 and the 996 generation of the Porsche 911 are great cars. When they were first produced, both of these cars were in totally different market segments. But the fact that the 996 is a little undervalued right now and the Honda S2000 has reached cult status has put them both in the same rough price range. You can't go wrong with either. But if you choose the 911 over the S2000, you'll have a bit of cash left over at the end of the day for a similar mileage car. And in many cases, this added cash does make up the difference in maintenance costs up to a point. And if you want a Porsche 996, you may want to buy one sooner rather than later, as every single positive YouTube video seems to drive the prices just a bit higher.